Hello again, welcome to another Q&A for the Vectorworks Teaser Tuesdays. This week's topic, if you haven't seen it already, we'll be playing the video shortly, is ClipCube viewport options. I'm Jim Wilson, User Experience Manager, and you are?
I am Celine. I've been with Vectorworks for 3.5 years now. I'm a software engineer in the research team, and my main focus is RenderWorks.
If you've been on the forums, you've probably talked with Celine.
I try to be active on the forums.
She tries to get the idea of what the people want and how to give it to them properly. The first thing we will do is share the video. So we will share the video of the teaser itself. It's about 5 minutes long, then we'll come back. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. We'll keep an eye on that. But we already have some questions from the forums and from Facebook earlier this week that we'll go ahead and go through. Enjoy. For the final teaser before Vectorworks 2019, I'd like to demonstrate ClipCube viewports. We've had a large number of requests of people. Once they saw ClipCube, it was immediately used. Many people create sections from a face of a ClipCube now. That's a very common upgrade. But we couldn't put them in a viewport. So if you had a ClipCube, no matter how you clip the model, so I could touch up my model here. And just to prove you, this is a fully fleshed out model. So I've got all the notation and everything turned off, but all my geometry is on. So this is a fully fleshed out model. Lots of furniture, lots of different interior detail, lots of meshes, imported cars. So it's not a light file by any means. I just want to give you an idea of the speed and how this works. So we'll go ahead and we'll clip this up. So if I'd already clipped up my model here, clip it here a bit, shave that down, just get the first floor here. We'll pull it in. We have the viewport, or we have the ClipCube. Now, if I want to make a ClipCube viewport of that, I can just go ahead. I'm going to use a crop. You don't have to do that. I'm just doing it for the sake of the demo. View, create viewport. We'll use that as a crop. We don't need a label. This scale should fit on the page. Click OK, and then it creates our viewport, and you can see on-demand tessellation drawing that in there. If we zoom in, we can then go in here and put this, let's just do OpenGL, like when we were seeing the ClipCube before. We'll update that, and of course we can't see the ClipCube in wireframe in viewports, but as soon as we update this viewport, we can see that this ClipCube is still present. Not only that, if I go in here, I can double click this viewport, and now to edit that ClipCubed view, what you do is you choose Design Layer, and then you make sure that this checkbox is checked. You don't actually edit the annotations of the crop or anything like that. You do Display with ClipCube. If I uncheck this option, the ClipCube will be removed from this viewport after this edit. So we'll leave that turned on. We'll click OK, and now we can see that same ClipCube is still present. But I want to show you something. So if I go back to my saved view, that's back to the model. So even though I have that ClipCube saved already, this is now reverted back to my saved view. And of course, saved views can hold ClipCube settings. If we go back to the ClipCube viewport, however, you can see that it's still saving that selection. It's still saving that ClipCube. If I go into Edit it here and Display with ClipCube, click OK, I can see that same ClipCube. So the viewport has saved this cube, and I can, of course, go in here and edit this now. Return to the viewport. It'll be dirty with the out-of-date border. I'll update that, and it'll draw to show my changes. It'll show my new clipped cube in the view here as soon as the update goes. It's OpenGL, so it should just take a second. There it goes, and it finishes the update. This is important because you can have separate clip cubes per viewport. So each of these viewports is the same model. I've not made different layers or sheets or anything like that, but with the clip cube has been edited per viewport. So the clip cube can be controlled per each viewport. And further to that, if there's a couple things that'll come up because of that. The first thing is that means you can now use ClipCube with RenderWorks, which is excellent as far as I'm concerned. You can make some really cool looking stuff here. So this is just the example over here was just OpenGL. This is the full house with no ClipCube whatsoever, and this is with a few different clips. I can, of course, customize the color of the section. That works exactly the same way as you might think. You just scroll down here, and it's in the same option, Advanced Properties, and that's the color. I believe that's the same for section viewports as well. This works pretty much the same way. I can change this color, and if I do, it'll update, and you can use different colors for it. You can see that here in the RenderWorks ClipCube. Here I have a green instead of the blue on this side. And you can see here I have the white card rendering, which is showing textures but no color, and then here is just a regular RenderWorks viewport. There's an option about lighting, though. The light objects that are clipped out will still be included, because a lot of the time your heliodon will be off to the side, and we didn't want to make it such that any lights that were not involved in the scene were completely turned off. But to control that, you have options for the shadows as well. So you can see this is the geometry that was removed in this clip cube. I can now see that. So you choose whether to see the shadows from that geometry or not. So this is what the shadows would look like in this scene if all of that geometry were still included. This is more an artistic effect than anything else, but it's just an option for you. If you scroll down here, it's again in Advanced Properties. And I have an option for cast shadows of removed objects. If I go over to this viewport, that option is simply turned off. That is unchecked, and you can re-render it after that. This has no clip cube shown at all. And finally, this works with OpenGL and RenderWorks renders. You saw a second ago that it didn't appear in Hidden Line, or it didn't appear in Wireframe, but it also does not work in Hidden Line since that's not a RenderWorks mode. But what you can do is simply use the workaround trick with OpenGL, or you could even, I don't have an example of it here, but you could easily use the RenderWorks with edges as well, and you would be able to get this effect. So you can effectively, as good as get Hidden Line renders in this sort of isometric view. Hidden Line's mostly better for elevations and sections anyway. We're going to have that detail, and this is sort of an abstract form of showing it. But this is ClipCube Viewports. It's been asked for quite a while, and we have included it in Vectorworks 2019. And we're back. So let us, again, please put any questions you like. Just put them in the chat and we'll get to them as soon as we can. The first question comes from the forums, and it's Kevin McAllister. He says he notices that the voids are still present in the clip cube sections where 3D geometry is overlapping. We call this often self-intersecting solids is the term we use here. Is this something that will be fixed in the future too? And I assume he means as like rendering is what we're talking about here. So
yeah, well, I would not consider that a rendering bug because we don't have like solid objects intersecting in the real world. That is a modeling problem, I think. And if we were to provide a solution in terms of rendering, we would be faking it, and we don't want to do that. And the proper solution would be fixing the modeling or making it easier to make it accurate, and that would not come from me or my team.
So it is something that we could work on, but not
It is something we can consider, but not like my team.
Gotcha. So we'll get somebody to do it. The next question is from Linework. Does the completely hollow cut plane issue in RenderWorks still apply to these ClipCube viewports?
No. The hollow cut was, I don't think it was an issue to begin with again, because it wasn't designed to work with like caps, the hollow cut caps. Right. But with the request from our users and with this task with the ClipCube, you will see the section caps like you saw in OpenGL with ClipCube before.
So it's just an added benefit that just comes
an added benefit from this task, yes.
Excellent. Next question here. This is from Mark on the forums. Before this feature, it was possible to make section viewports from the face of a clip cube. Can the same section viewports now be edited using that same functionality with regards to editing the cut planes now being used with clip cube viewports?
Creating a section viewport from ClipCube functionality is still there. We haven't changed that. But ClipCube for viewports, for this cycle at least, works for regular viewports only, so it will not work with section viewports. If you wanted to have a section viewport and a ClipCube associated with that viewport and going back and forth editing and then going back to the section viewport, it will not work like it would work in a regular viewport with a ClipCube.
So that might be somewhere where we go in the future, where a ClipCube is the UI that you use to crop out your section, because people seem to love it. Like they seem, as soon as we showed right-click, create section viewport from face, everyone was all about it.
It is pretty straightforward. I like it too. It might be something we can consider, but for now, we did not touch the section viewports for this task.
Gotcha. Jorg asks if this will work on perspectives too.
Yes, absolutely.
Excellent. A nice simple one there. And this, what we wanted to talk about was so what was the real impetus of doing this feature? Like what was the real, like it was explicitly requested, but in addition to that, what were we seeing that we did this for?
The first time ClipCube rolled out in design layers in Vectorworks, people loved it and immediately they wanted it to be in the viewports, and we got a lot of requests for it too. And people like the straightforwardness of the ClipCube and the design layer. It's so quick, it's so simple to use, and we just wanted to bring that into viewports so they can still have that same simple, straightforward stuff in addition to the section viewports. So it's like an alternative workflow, pretty straightforward one.
Gotcha. So all the people that used to do a design layer viewport and then make a sheet layer viewport of that viewport, making viewports of viewports of viewports, that we're getting all those problems, we saw that and just decided, well, if everyone's doing it, like we might as well just make it nice and smooth. So because and of course, if anyone's ever tried to do that, you know there are caveats that come with trying to do that workflow, but it was almost ubiquitous, I would say. Of all the people that talked about wanting to do something with ClipCube on the forum you saw, it was, a lot of people were asking, oh, well, can you improve this flow so that when I take sheet layer viewports of design layer viewports, it does X? And we sort of wound it back one more to see, oh, do you mean, so you're just doing this anyway, so you actually don't want this feature, you want us to back up one and just make that not necessary in the first place. So that's cleaned it up. We have a live question from Gustavo in the chat. Can the ClipCube be aligned? Can it be rotated? Or does it just do north, south, east, west? I'll leave that one to you. I know the answer, but I'll leave that one to you if you happen to know. It's all good. So that one, the ClipCube, yes. The ClipCube itself, you can rotate it. So you'll select the ClipCube on its own. Just select it first, and then you'll see the handles at the bottom. You'll be able to grab and rotate that. So you can actually rotate the ClipCube so that you can do it manually. You don't have to stick to north, south, east, west. It locks to that by default, just up, down, left, right in the document, but you don't need to keep that. And again, this is one of those weird features because Celine works on all the rendering for it whatsoever, but not actually ClipCube itself.
Yeah, the ClipCube was implemented before I started working here.
So just the rendering of the ClipCube Jung is what it is. And if there are no more questions in the chat, I think that's no problem, Gustavo. I think that's everything. If there are no more questions, then that about wraps it up. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you later.